Welcome to the end of another highly questionable week. What do we have today, Bomani?
We're going to tell you how much we love playoff hockey and then talk about a playoff hockey game that none of us watched.
And playoff basketball is what we're actually going to talk about. Vamos, Papi.
Buckle up, here it comes.
Oh, don't do that anymore.
Did the Raptors turn the series around?
They saved their season last night, and I guess for the moment they've turned the series around. But this team feels flimsy, feels shaky. You've got Kyle Lowry giving voice. You never see this or hear this. Public voice to his vulnerability, and he was the one hitting the jumpers at the end, even though nobody really trusted him in that building to hit those jumpers. This team, Bomani, you don't see a lot of this. Feels like those Roy Hibbert Pacers in the playoffs where we were always questioning their mental frailty, and with good reason.
The only thing, though, they're playing as they are, which is not that far from being up 2-0 in this series, with their two best players having the worst consistent shooting display I can ever think of for two guys who are expected to lead a team. Yet somehow they're still in these things. The thing is, nothing you've seen has led you to believe that DeMar DeRozan is going to start hitting jumpers or that Kyle Lowry is going to start hitting jumpers, except they can't shoot below 20% for three-point range for the whole damn playoffs, right?
Are you sure?
I mean, that's the thing. It looks like
sure?
if I had just gotten here from Mars and you told me these two guys, all-stars, there's no way I would believe you.
Listen, I'm a real Heat fan. But that one to congratulate the Raptors in their big win last night. But now that you're in Miami, I want to take you out. I want to take you to South Beach. I want to show you all the good spots that I know, all the fun that is in South Beach. I want to take you out in my boat, you know, and I want to roll out the red carpet for you just before the game, so you know what South Beach is all about. Do you think that people understand that I just want them getting drunk before the game so they can really blow the games here?
I mean, if you want to continue that thing. My father would drink a lot of champagne with you guys. DeRozan, Lowry, he prefers you. Scola, you don't have to come, all right? No. That's okay. You can stay, but he wants DeRozan and Lowry on the boat drinking champagne.
Had one of those Paul George weekends.
Meet my friend, Uncle Luke.
Yeah.
Little Wayne.
Yeah.
Right hand, left hand.
Yeah. Let's go.
Should the Hawks listen to Charles Barkley and take someone out on the Cavs tonight?
Yeah, we're still going there. I guess yesterday we talked about whether Charles Barkley and Charles Oakley should fight. Absolutely pay-per-view. We would all pay for it. But remember, this all got started because Charles Barkley said the Hawks needed to take somebody out for the disrespectful three-point display that he saw in the last game, in Game 2. I mean, you can take out a three-point shooter if you want, but if you feel like a tough guy taking out a three-point shooter, if that sets the tone for you, you have lost already.
Well, this is a voice from the past giving a voice to something from the past. We really don't play basketball this way anymore. The rules legislate against you doing stuff like that, being that kind of physical. And as Bomani pointed out yesterday, we usually don't do this to the guys 30 feet from the rim. Basically, what the Hawks would be doing is having their pride hurt by guys who are taking kind of inefficient shots that haven't been inefficient for them. It's not like the Cavs are being super physical with them, bloodying Goran Dragic and doing some of the things that the Raptors did last night that felt a little physical.
They have been over there dancing a lot, though. Like, I can't understand if you want to get in the middle of that dance party and, touch somebody up.
You shouldn't try to hurt the Cavs. That's not the way to do it. I mean, you shouldn't do that. Things like that in a game, in a basketball game. I mean, you shouldn't go for their knees. Even though that's a good way of doing it. You know what I mean?
You got some kind of glitch?
I mean, is there a facial spasm? Is he winking, or what is happening here? I feel like he's having an allergic reaction.
Does the exciting finish to the Predators-Sharks game make you wish you watched hockey?
It is great to watch playoff hockey. I remember so many years ago in my childhood watching Mike Bossy and those Islanders go 3 overtimes and being mesmerized by it. Last night, this goes 3 overtimes, and watch some of the stuff that was happening with the stakes at an elevated level here. This is, goal, that's not allowed. There were replay snafus. Every goal is going to break you. End the game. This is a great deal of fun. Bomani, if any of this stuff was happening in basketball, we'd be talking about these games as the best games we've ever seen, and they happen pretty routinely in hockey.
Let me explain something to you about overtime, man. At this point in my life, I root for regulation. I don't care who wins. I just hope these things get over with kind of soon. 3 overtimes? Like, that sounds really dope. Would have been even better if they could have done that at the end of the third period, because then everybody could go home and go to sleep.
You're a young person. Why is it that you're always advocating for sleep around here?
Because, I mean, it's a game is a game is a game. If they'd done that at the end of regulation, it'd have felt the exact same way.
Well, just wait a couple of years to be just like me, I mean, you get up in the middle of the night, you can go to the bathroom, and then you go to the bathroom a couple of times, and then you turn on the TV set, and you watch the end of the game.
Yes,
That's the way to do it.
I mean, yeah, there you go. There you go. That is good advice. Be old.
I can't wait to be 72.
You turn the negative into a positive. Should Kevin Durant be more interested in joining the Spurs or the Warriors?
All right, the Kevin Durant free agency sweepstakes starts in less than 60 days. This is going to be crazy because this is the summer where everybody's going to have money, and he's the best free agent that's out there. And there are so many good teams that could find a way to work Kevin Durant into their lineup. And now we're hearing from Mark Stein of ESPN that the Spurs have begun exploring what they'd have to do with their cap so they'd have a big three of Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Kevin Durant. Which team is more intriguing to join if you're Kevin Durant? I mean, can you go wrong with this one? Is there a way that this is bad? Because it seems to me whichever one Kevin Durant will go to would then become the best team in the NBA.
I do think that he shifts the balance of power and can do it in a lot of different places. It doesn't just have to be these two places. But something that gets forgotten with this Mark Stein report and what everyone's talking about is that in his best financial interest is to sign something short-term, not long-term, to stay where he is for another year and then test all of this a year from now when he can get more money from a bigger pie of money. He'll have this decision to make now, and he'll have it to make later.
And we'll have plenty of time to decide whether or not we're going to get on Kevin Durant for joining up with guys instead of trying to beat them like you did with LeBron James. You remember that when you had that whole hullabaloo about that? Kevin Durant, he's a superstar, right? Right?
Well, Kevin, listen, if you're going to join a team just to win a title, we know how to do that in Miami. We have done it more than once, buddy.
Yeah.
More than once we have done it.
I mean, it's true. They did it with Shaq. That's what, I mean, if you want the experience, be next to Poppy, party when the Raptors come into town.
Little Wayne.
Oh, again, Lil Wayne.
Uncle Luke.
Uncle Luke. There you go.
Coming up next on my son's TV show, we talk to Caron Butler.
Caron, how old were you your earliest shootout?
I would have to say between the age of, maybe 12, 13 years old. That was just the way.
Joining us at the beach today is Caron Butler.
Used to be with the Miami Heat, used to be with a lot of teams. He's got a book out, Tough Juice, My Journey from the Streets to the NBA. You can follow him on Twitter, @RealToughJuice. I think Mark Wahlberg's making a movie on his life. Let's talk to him. Caron, would you describe to us, please, what you were like as an 11-year-old? Your life has been kind of crazy. So 11-year-old Caron Butler, what was going on in his life?
A little bit of everything, from, being on the block, being a paper boy, seeing a lot of different things, in my surroundings from, drug sales to, all the things that I shouldn't have seen at that point and at that age, I pretty much seen.
Were you someone who was carrying a gun at that age? How early were you carrying a gun in your life?
Man, I was, as far as I can remember, I was carrying pistols because they was accessible. They was, right there at my leisure. So, I had one for protection at all times. And, all the guys that I hung around with, usually carried them as well.
What would Caron Butler identify as the most dangerous situation he found himself as a young man?
It was so many. Being in shootouts, being part of shootouts, shooting at other folks, and, having myself in situations in which, I grazed myself on the leg when I, accidentally, shot myself and being in that situation. So it was a lot of different situations that I was in as a youngster, and I was able to overcome and, kind of, find my path and find my niche in life and move forward in the right direction.
Caron, how old were you your earliest shootout?
I would have to say between the age of, maybe 12, 13 years old. that was just the way, you know, back then in Racine. You know, if you was out there standing like a statue in some of the roughest neighborhoods, you know, things happen. And, you know, when, you know, people come through shooting and situations happen, you know, you kind of protect yourself or protect your block or your neighborhood where you at, and, you know, you retaliate.
Well, how long was it in your life before you realized that that wasn't quote unquote normal for an 11-year-old?
I think as I got older, you know, people always, you know, plant the right seeds in me, and I had a great foundation of family that was trying to steer me in the right direction, you know, mostly women who raised me. You know, the male role models in my life was either gone or, you know, on the streets, you know, doing all the things that I was trying to do. So once I got incarcerated and went away for some time, and, you know, I got stronger mentally, and I just realized that I didn't want to be part of that cycle, that continuous cycle.
Was that the turning point for you, that moment, or was there some other time that was more life-changing than that one?
I think it was a bunch of moments, but that particular moment when I was incarcerated in Ethan Allen, in the hole in solitary confinement, you know, for getting into it with opposing gang member at the time, and being away from my family, no visits, locked down 23 hours a day, an hour of, you know, rec, getting out, taking showers or whatever it may be. I knew that wasn't a lifestyle for me no longer. And I wanted to get out and maximize my potential and, you know, try to exhaust every opportunity that I possibly could.
Well, walking in there in the first place, was it like what you expected it to be?
I expected it to be a place that I never wanted to return to, but I knew that I had to survive. You know, I had to get through it. And that was the first time being, you know, in a situation in which I didn't know the outcome. You know, when you go to county, all right, you do 30 days, you get out. 15 days, you get out. But to be in this situation in particular, you know, I didn't have a release date. I didn't have a mandatory release date. I had, you know, 2 years kind of hanging over my head, and I didn't know if it would get extended for priors that I was involved with, you know, on the streets. I didn't know if those cases would pop back up or whatever it may be. So I was just in there trying to be better, you know, and trying to move forward with my life.
You've been such an upstanding citizen in the league, such a pillar. Can you explain to us, though, how bad a kid you were? Because the juxtaposition is confusing, because you've been so responsible since this early time in your life.
I mean, a lot of times, you know, people like go through situations and they live this life, and then once, you know, you obtain some type of riches or wealth or whatever it may be, that's when you start trying to gain credibility in other different ways. But my street credibility and what I went through is actually what I lived, you know, all my life. So once I was shown a different way, I was exposed to something different, I just, you know, embraced it with open arms, because no one wants to look over their shoulder for the rest of their life. No one wants to, you know, not have the opportunity to be successful. And being a father at a young age, I was a father at the age of 14. I wanted to, you know, be on a platform in which I can be the father that I always dreamed of being, the father that I always seen on television and things like that. So I wanted to be the best Karan Butler that I possibly can be. And once I got exposed to something new, I just took full advantage of it.
Let's get Papi in here. What do you got for him, Papi? What do you got?
Karan, what is the funniest thing that you have ever seen in a locker room in the NBA?
The funniest thing I ever seen in the locker room in the NBA, I would have to say, you know, one time Gilbert had, you know, rolled in Aubrey Story wheels from his car, and obviously they supposed to be on his car, and they was in the locker room, so that was funny to me.
How did y'all let him get away with doing stuff like that, man? Like, how did y'all let this happen?
Man. You know, that was just funny, man. I was just like, it was crazy, because earlier that morning I saw Aubrey Story truck, and I was like, man, that's clean. And then the wheels came in the locker room. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Karan, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Gracias, Karan.
De nada. Not long ago, when people wore pajamas and left life slow.
When laws were stern and justice stood, and people were behaving like they ought to go.
There lived a little boy who was misled by another little boy, and this is what he said.
Me and you, Ty, we're gonna make some cash, robbing old folks and making the dash.
What old folks are you robbing?
Questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that is consumed by rage. Do you question?
You give us topics and events. We question them.
Do you question if Kyle just didn't see him?
All right, this is Kyle Lowry right before the game. I'm assuming right after this clip ended, he missed the jumper.
You're looking at it from the Philly side because you're used to that, you know?
Oh.
Oh, dang.
Oh, security guard. Security guard. Give me some pound. No, he pretty clearly saw it and dismissed it. I am alleging that there's something.
He's not shooting well enough to do that. Like you are not in a position to be like big time in the quote unquote little people at the arena. You need to be shaking every custodian, every security guard, every cafeteria lady's hand. You need to be shaking hands because it would look like you won with them these days.
If Larry had tried it, he would have missed it, you know?
Oh,
That's what he's doing lately.
Man.
Time after time after
Really?
time. Yeah.
Just
I apologize for punching you in the face. I was just trying to give you a pound and show love.
Wow. I mean, ouch.
Do you question if this guy should be famous?
Oh, we're willing to give fame out more now than we've ever been willing to do it. What's this guy done to earn it?
Wow.
There's no disputing that it's impressive hand-eye coordination.
Wow.
Hand-eye coordination is what I meant to
You
say.
can't transfer that into anything, you know, more lucrative?
No, this guy should absolutely be part of a Cirque du Soleil act, shouldn't he? We could put him in. I mean, that doesn't give you fame. What?
We said favors.
Yeah, that doesn't give you fame, but that's impressive. That last part is that last
Did he
part.
just go Michael Jackson or Jesus? Like, which one was that? Here's what I want to know about the dude. What are all the basic things you have no idea how to do because you spent 20 hours a day of your life trying to practice juggling?
Well, that's not a big deal. He didn't have an opponent. He didn't have any competition there. So just looking at the guy doing something.
Oh, yes.
There you
Juggling. Yes, competition. The opponent. I remember this video.
Why are there so many people watching?
Yes.
Why are there? Did they sell tickets?
It was a good crowd.
Do you question if this guy is more impressive than the juggler?
Like a Batman villain.
I was pretty impressed by the juggler, admittedly. What do we got here? Let's see if this guy topples him. Oh, the barrel thrower. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd say no is the answer to this question.
Yeah. I don't think this
Not
is
more
really a
impressive than
contest.
the juggler.
I
Although,
will say this: I'd be a lot more impressed if I was working in that warehouse with him, because it sounds like he is like jiggered the machine to make his job a whole lot easier.
yes, much more efficient than the juggler. I'll grant him that.
Man, that's a job.
Yeah, it really is.
Real.
Yeah,
That's
my
right.
father's
But,
right
I mean,
about
all
that.
day long
Yeah.
doing that.
My
Can you
father's
believe
right.
that?
Yeah, he's right. He's so right. He's never been more right.
Although, show us the video of all the time he was working to get that good at it, where his boss is like, if you drop one more barrel,
Time to play the game that still has all its own hair. See? Or no?
Tell us what's on TV every single time he's intrigued.
On ESPN Game 3, Spurs and Thunder.
This is the best basketball that we have available to us anywhere on the planet. And Steven Adams, at the end of the chaos at the last game where there was a hijacker, was stabbed with something, and several felonies were committed, and the refs missed all of it. Steven Adams was grabbed by a fan at the end of the game, and this is what he had to say about it.
I surprised myself.
Were you surprised how strong the lady was to hold you back?
How good, eh? Yeah. They got some passionate fans, man. It's awesome. Their fans are good.
Did you feel like she was trying to hold you back, or she was trying to get up?
I don't know, man, because like once I landed in the crowd, it was just like I just seen a bunch of lads, and they were just like, you know, they were drunk and being passionate fans, and and I just thought it was one of them, so that's why I got a bit mad. Thought it was one of the lads grabbing me, but I don't know. Who knows, man?
He was so mad when he thought it was one of the lads grabbing him. If you look at that video, he was furious. Bomani, are you intrigued?
My man Stephen Gold to that. As Brian Windhurst got a great story about him on ESPN.com. The tooth goes and plays bingo with the old people and talks smack to them.
I love that. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. But listen, I mean, which team is Kevin Durant going to suit up for tonight? You know, if he likes his Spurs so much, you know, what is he going to do? It's time to make up your mind, Kevin. I mean, you cannot have it both ways, buddy.
Why? He doesn't have to do that now. He can wait till the offseason.
But if he could make that decision in the middle of the series, that would make things really intriguing.
Yeah.
I need 2 C cards.
Saturday on NBC, the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, it'll take a couple of minutes. It's a couple of interesting minutes. And every year we preview this the same way. My dad asks us, hey, who are the Latin horses? Who are the Latin sounding horses? And we play a clip of our favorite horse, Spicer Cub. This is how we break it down.
Spicer Cub into the far true.
My
And
father
Spicer
actually
Cub with
asked
an erratic
before we
course is
showed
now
this,
back
is
over to the
Spicer Cub
6th
running
path.
in this
And
year's
here's
Derby?
Turbin, who's been
This
taken to
race
the
is from
outside for the
2013.
final ball. Spicer
That-
Cub.
there-
Spicer
where's
Cub
he going?
shifted
Where's
out
he
again.
going?
Yeah,
Spicer
this is
Cub
where it gets
has a
interesting.
chance.
Right
Spicer
there you
Cub,
go.
they believe
Go,
in
go,
miracles.
go,
Turbin,
Spicer Cub,
Spicer
go,
Cub
go,
outside
there you go.
Pure
Yes.
Town.
I mean,
Spicer
this is-
There he
Cub
goes, there he
and the
goes.
X-Men on an adventurous
up there.
ride in a photo
Hugely
finish with
inefficient,
Turbin.
kind of
Maybe
like
Turbin.
my father driving
Spicer
around
Cub.
South Florida. Takes him 40 minutes to get to places that take 10 minutes. Bomani, are you intrigued?
Yeah, I guess. I also contend the only way that you could get that horse to straighten up and get that close to the front by the finish is animal cruelty.
Poppy, whoa, took the fun out of that. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very cheap because I'm telling you something. There is a Latino horse there by the name of Majesto that is jockey. It's Maciel Jaramillo, you know, and that's a 30 to 1, you know, run on that one there. I'm ready to go. That's the type of horse that I like, the real underdog. Majesto.
The best part is you called him a Hesto, and we actually think that's how it's pronounced, as opposed to him just making anything Spanish.
Well, how about he got the jockey's name? He's never said anything on the show's history with so much confidence.
Maciel Jaramillo.
Otra vez.
All right.
Yeah.
From Venezuela.
Sí.
He's a jockey that I've been following for many years, you know. I'm telling you. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Gracias. See you mañana.
El lunes.
That too.
How about having some quality father and son time, will you?
No.
No? Why not?
No,
He's addicted to the phone.
It's true. It's true.